I'm going to show you how to use Procreate on the iPad. So I'm going to select the icon here. And when I get to this gallery view, I'm going to, there's this plus sign up in the right-hand corner. I'm going to select that. And I want to select A4. Okay, because that's a pretty good size to work with. And then I'm going to show you kind of a cheater way to create a rendering. So what I'm going to do is go to the top left-hand corner, and there's a little kind of a wrench symbol. I'm going to select that. And this is our actions menu. And what I want to do is insert a photo. And I'm going to go to my photo album, and I want to work with this photo. Okay, so currently what I can do is adjust the size when it imports, because you see it's selected, and I can drag it to the size I want. I want to fill up the page, and I want to make sure she's kind of centered, and I may make it a little bigger. Okay, so that's about where I want her to be. And then once it is the size I want and it's centered, I can press this arrow button, which is the selection tool. Okay, so when I press it, it's selected, and when I deselect it, it goes away. And the next step is, what I want to do is use this as an underlayer. So I'm going to put a layer over it, and I'm almost going to trace this figure to get my rendering. So if you look at the top right hand side, there is this image that is like looks like two squares on top of each other. That's the layer menu. And she's currently on layer 1, and the background color is white. And we're going to keep the background color white. So with her at layer 1, I want a layer on top of her. So I'm pressing this plus symbol again, and then there's a layer that shows up, and it says layer 2. Now that layer, these go in order. So anything on the bottom is underneath, and then everything above it is on top of it. So it goes in order. So what we want to do is take her layer 1, and there is an N on the side, and N stands for normal. You can change how these layers act, and right now we want it on normal. But what this gets us is this little bar that shows opacity. Okay, so we want her to be less opaque. I'm putting it about 40%, and then I'll just tap onto the picture, and that'll go away. Okay, so what I can do now is kind of trace this, and that'll help to get my proportions in. So the next step would be to go to this tool that it's already selected. It's blue, and it looks like a paintbrush, and that's gonna be where I get my drawing tools. It's currently set to airbrush, but I want to do drawing. No, I want to do sketching. So sketching gives us some pencils, and I want to use this first one, which is called Peppermint. Oops. If you press it, it goes into that pencil and the different properties that pencil has. You can adjust them if you'd like, but right now we're not going to get into that. So I already have Peppermint selected, so I'll tap the picture again. And I want to select a color to draw. So I actually want to draw this in blue, because that's a good underlayer sketching color. So the sketching layer we're going to use is actually not going to be the real one we draw with. It's kind of our practice sketch. So in the very top right hand corner, I'm going to select that circle, and that circle gives me the color wheel. And I'm going to color this in a blue. So we're going to do kind of a bright blue color. So the outer wheel gets you the hue, and then once you get the hue you want, you can get the shade or the tint. Okay, so I'm going to go for the bright blue, and then I'll select this layer. Okay, the next step with the pencil, if I were to just start drawing, the pencil might not be set where I want. So I can draw and see it's okay, right? It's showing up. But I don't like what I did. So there's this undo button. You can't see it. Let's get it. Here's the undo button. So every time I click it, it does a different undo. So I just did 3 lines. So I did 1, 2, 3 undos. Okay. Actually, I am going to change this pencil. I want it to be the Procreate pencil to start with. let me see how that works. So I showed you the undo button, but now I need to adjust maybe the size of the pencil. So this top bar does how big the pencil brush size is, and because it's a pencil, you can't really see this adjusting. Okay, when you get to the bigger brushes, like let's say airbrushes, I just selected this airbrush, you can see how it changes as you change the size of the airbrush. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to pencils, sketching, Procreate pencil. Let's test out this pencil. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it. So we'll undo those. And then we might not want it super opaque, right? So this lower toolbar shows you how opaque that pencil will be. As you're coloring, you're going to want to play with this opacity a lot. But right now we'll go, let's say around 80, and let's try the brush size around 20. Okay, so what I want to do is kind of just give a rough outline, a sense of the shape that she's in. Oops, let's check. I am in layer 2, which is good. So I'm gonna kind of draw her shoulder line. Just get the sense of the body and the shape it's going in. So also the next one I like to do is kind of the hip line. You can see her hips aren't straight, right? They're a little twisted because her leg is coming forward. And the reason why I'm doing it this way rather than just outlining is because I can get a better sketch quality to the drawing if I get a sense for what is the figure drawing doing? What is this pose that she's got? Okay, so this is how even when I don't trace something, I usually actually don't trace, but this is how I start a drawing anyways. I usually start with the head. Oops, I don't like that shape. And her head's kind of in a weird angle. Okay, and usually I start with the head, the shoulders, and then the hip line, and then I'll go and kind of create the hips and the body and do it that way. So we're gonna pretend like I'm doing this from scratch without something that I'm tracing. So do you see, I just did the face by following straight down the middle of the face where the nose and the mouth come, and then across the eyes. So you're getting a sense of the roundness of the head and the angle it's going in. And her chin is going like this, which is kind of a really hard angle to draw. Okay, so that's the basic, just the basic pose she has. And then I'm gonna draw kind of this hand gesture. Okay, and then let's do the legs. And this kind of practice of drawing the figure by tracing might help you to really start to understand the shape of the body, but I would try to do it freehand more often. She's got a knee here. She's got another one back there we can't really see. That's the waist. Okay, so I think that's basically what we need. That's basically the information that we need for her. We can, if you wanted to add this umbrella, you know, you can. It's kind of broken. Okay, so that's our figure drawing. And then what I can do is turn off layer 1. We can always turn it back on and kind of use it with the face. But to turn it off, you can look at layer 1, and there's these check boxes on the side. And if you uncheck something, it'll disappear. Okay, so I've unchecked layer 1 with the picture, and I can just look at her that way. Okay, So then the next step will be to actually use this as your reference, but then go in and start to actually make your rendering.